Hi, everybody. Craig here.
Happy holidays. This is Alina.
And this is Craig.
So we wanted to make this short video to wish you all a happy holiday season, and also because something really piqued my interest in creating this for you was an article that I was reading about what constitutes maturity at each age, right? And there was this professor out of Emory University who was saying that maturity in our late 40s and 50s is, maybe the word maturity, we can change that to wisdom, right? The wisdom that comes with each age, feeling wise. And part of that really in your late 40s and 50s is about setting priorities in terms of relationships,
right,
and wanting experiences more than things, and knowing how to set clear boundaries, and knowing that when there are challenges in life, it's an opportunity for growth. And so I was talking to Craig about this, and you said that there was a theme here around the holidays, and so we thought we'd make this video about 3 boundaries that we think are important to have a nice strong container for a healthy, happy, prosperous, and spiritually fulfilling holiday season.
Yeah, because I really had the thought that, we're in the giving season, right? And there's just this tendency to give and take care of. And often we can set up this polarity of giving and giving and giving, and then feeling not taken care of. So we have to remember that part of the giving season is giving to ourselves.
Okay.
Right? And the tendency is just to give away. So we just want to make sure that they're in balance.
Okay.
So one of the first priority that we really want to set up is that we're taking time. It's a holiday season which really has, in so many traditions, a deeper meaning.
Absolutely.
A spiritual meaning, a time for reflection, a time for looking over the year, a looking within ourselves to how we're being kind, how we're being generous, how we're being, how we're creating healing in our lives.
Right.
Right? But there's also this tremendous tendency during the holiday season for not that. For the hubbub, for the craziness, for the shopping, for the social events, for the family. So many ways to keep us so busy that we're not able, or we don't make time for reflection time. For really time for examining our lives and the deeper meaning of the holidays, and setting up those priorities and setting up those boundaries to be able to take care of that is really important during this time.
So some of the ways that we can do that are making time for that sort of deeper reflection and connection to the deeper meanings of the holidays, and making time and really reflect on where we want to spend our time and our money. And so the giving of the holiday is a beautiful thing, and this is the time of year when we reflect on charitable organizations that we want to contribute to, maybe donating non-perishable goods to a food bank, or maybe working in a soup kitchen, and all of those are wonderful and really feed us. But there are other ways that we spend our money and our time that are detrimental, such as you were saying. It's interesting to me that the time period between January 1st, so New Year's Eve, and Valentine's Day is the time of year when people break up the most out of any other time period during the year.
Now that's crazy, but when you think about it, right, holiday season, there's a lot of pressure to buy, right? There's a lot of pressure to gift, and I know for myself, I can think of a past relationship where it's like, this is the time to make up for, to look good, to try to make everything better. Right,
or to show off a false facade to your friends and your family that everything's okay, and when it's really not. So you were in a relationship once where gift giving was a way to kind of...
It was a way to try to pump up the relationship and try to make things better. And you're right, and then there's kind of that hangover effect. There's a credit card hangover effect. There's the hangover effect of things aren't exactly the way that they were supposed to feel during the holidays. And you're right. So when we start to look at the issues that often come up for many people, and the really tappable issues for using EFT with, is that pressure to put on to make things nice, right? With loved ones, family, partners, etc. And that's a lot of pressure that comes up. Resentment over exchange and having to put out money and time and energy
or
to
guilt
others.
that you're not.
Guilt that you're
That's
not.
a big one for a lot of people.
So all these can be real work done with EFT and great source of tappable issues, right? Holidays is like a great source of tappable issues if you want to look at it that way, right? Okay, so that's tip number 1.
Yep.
Right.
So boundary setting tip number 2 is learning how to say no.
Well, that's hard during the year, but during the holidays,
Yeah.
I think it's even harder.
Yeah, right. And so saying no to obligations, right? The shoulds. Like I should go and do this thing that I've always done with my family.
Like Nutcracker every year.
Like Nutcracker every year.
What about the work parties? Right? Like at work, there's the social parties, and everybody always gets drunk at the party. I don't really like going, but I feel like I should, because if I don't, then everybody's going to maybe talk about me. They're going to say, why weren't I there? I'm not a team player.
Yes.
Right? Who am I to say no? Right?
Yeah, I've had clients that have struggled with this idea that we always go to my in-laws for Christmas. We always go to my family's for Christmas Eve, and always has to be that way, and it can never be any different. And I think when you have a family of your own, you have the opportunity to create new rituals and be able to say what works really well for my family. Especially when you have children, I think that gives you an opportunity to really look at, what really serves my family, and maybe watching all of my relatives get totally trashed and drunk and say obnoxious things to each other isn't really going to serve my kids in the way that I would like them to feel around the holidays. So maybe this is a chance to do something different. But again, there's a lot of guilt that goes around saying no, guilt around saying no in relationships too, in possibly ending relationships that don't serve us, or not bringing people back into our lives. I was working with a couple of clients in the last few weeks who were discussing this idea that forgiveness meant that they would have to bring their loved one back into their lives, or not their loved one, their estranged family member back into their lives.
Right.
And I think that is not true. What if the lesson for you is learning how to say no and set clear boundaries? Maybe that's the lesson.
Yeah. No, and I want to say the other things that often show up around the holidays is fear and worry about what they're going to say about me.
Right.
Fear of how I'm going to move forward the next year, what they're going to say. So there's anxiety, there's fear, there's worry,
shame.
There's shame because a good boy or a good girl or a good family member, whatever, would of course say yes to the family. Who would say no at this time of year?
Right.
Right? So there's a lot of good juicy emotions that can come up with saying no.
Saying no to that extra drink, saying no to that extra piece of whatever.
Dessert.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So cultivating that saying no can be really healthy. Mm-hmm. It's a healthy boundary setting exercise. You could say no thank you, right? I'm not saying being polite or being too strong about it, but learning that you have the choice to say no and practicing and noticing what happens when you think about saying no, what emotion shows up with that. There's very definite history and ways to be able to work with and tap on the process of saying no. Yeah.
Very well said.
Okay. Yeah.
Number 3?
Okay. All right. Boundary setting number 3.
Yeah.
How about the rituals that work and connect and the ones that don't?
Right.
Right? This is such a time of year that we can get caught up in the Christmas card, holiday card sending.
Yeah. Did you know that there's a German word for the stress that's created around making different Christmas cookies? Because Germans make 100 different varieties of Christmas cookies, and there's a word just for the stress that you feel of making all of those cookies.
Oh, you wouldn't want to break that tradition, would you? Of the stressful cookie creation, or the holiday house creating tree wreaths, everything that has to do around that, or the tradition, like we said, of the Nutcracker or the family doing that. So, in other words, we all have different family traditions, and some of them we absolutely love.
Right.
Right, and some of us bring us joy and family connection and all of that, and there are other ones that have turned into obligations.
Totally.
And they're just
Right.
they're just the things we do,
Yes.
and they're no longer bringing deeper connection and family and loving
Yes.
joy connection. So it's a learning to really to sit down with yourself and your family and go, what are the traditions that really serve us? Which are the ones that bring us a holiday sense of connection and love and joy and generosity and connection,
Right.
and which ones don't? And as soon as we start to decide what those are, I'm sure that for some people will be the fear of, worry of, anxiety of change.
Right.
Right? Whether it's with other family members or
Right.
what you're doing or what you're not doing. Like you said, the rededication to maybe your own family as opposed to the extended family, and having to make new arrangements with those things. But when we start to really look at which rituals bring us deeper into the sense of holiday joy and connection, whether it be Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever, Kwanzaa, whatever holiday that you're celebrating, sometimes we need to stop back, just like we look at stocks at the end of the year, which ones worked, which ones didn't work. We get to look at what we want to take a stock in as far as holiday rituals.
And some of the new rituals that I feel like I stepped back and I took a step back and created when our kids are really little are just around spending lots of time together versus time and experiences together that created the most connection and joy versus things. And I think that we need to keep going back to that message.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, that sounds great, and stuff will come up, and emotions will come up, because that's not always an easy choice.
Right.
Right? And the guilt and the worry, what'll they say, what happens if we change it, we've always done it this way. That's not always easy, but EFT can be really, really helpful on working with the specifics of what comes up as soon as you start to think about making a change with your holiday rituals.
Sure. And I think with Matrix Reimprinting, there is an opportunity this time of year to go back to all of the traumatic events that happen around the holiday season, because everyone's got a story.
Sure. Oh my God. Estranged family, alcohol, abuse, people coming together that no longer come together.
Sure.
And all of those things are rich sources.
Or death in the family around that time.
Loss.
I mean, we hear that all the time. So it's an opportunity to rewire that event and find the deeper levels of meaning and connection.
Yeah, especially for those people that have, there is a lot of pain around the holidays, a lot of emptiness and loneliness and disconnect, that being able to work with those past holidays that created that can overcome that.
Right.
So we just wanted to take this time to wish you a wonderful and beautiful end of the year holiday season, however you celebrate it. And we really just appreciate the opportunity to be able to be here together and share this with you.
Yes, blessings to you and to your families.
So good.